Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. Very glad you're with us today. It's October 12th, 2021. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just put your questions into the chat box. And for those watching us on Facebook right now, please just enter your questions into the comment field. We are monitoring both those feeds and we'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org to help those who were unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched a second website, careerusa.org, to help people around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007, and I'll tell you about our upcoming program this Friday at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIT crew. This is a great way for you to practice your interview skills. You spend a lot of time on resumes, a lot of time on LinkedIn, a lot of time networking. How much time do you actually spend practicing being interviewed? This is totally free. If you'd like to have more information, please reach out to me and let me know. Well, on LinkedIn Tuesdays, we have 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They rotate through on a monthly basis. And, the reason for this is that every week you get a little bit different point of view and a little bit different, something different that you should do and pick up to do on your LinkedIn profile. So today our speaker is Locke Alderson. He's a career consultant, been in recruiting for many, many years. He's going to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies to get results. So Locke, good afternoon, and thank you for being with us. You are muted.
Okay, we'll take care of that. Okay. Am I coming up live, Jeff?
We see you. We're getting the hang of this now, aren't we?
Yeah, well, that is my bio up there on the screen. I have 42 years in recruiting, and overlapping the last few years of that is 20 years in career consulting. I started as a volunteer doing that was supposed to start on 9/11, but that turned into a postponement for a week because of what happened in New York and Washington and Pennsylvania. But I've been doing it since that time. In 2013, I was tasked by our pastor at our church, 2001 was when I was tasked by the pastor at our church to start a group. And then in 2013, because I'm doing volunteer work as a speaker at workshops and seminars, Mullen International, an outplacement firm out of New York, asked me if I'd like to do that on contract for 90 days. Well, that was very successful and lasted for 4 years, 90 days before Mullen sold out to Lee Heck Harrison. Mullen laid everybody off, and a month later, I was picked up by Lee Heck Harrison. So that's kind of my background in talking about that. I've also been a job hunter and have used LinkedIn as a job hunter for a number of years, and I've used it as a recruiter, how to find and take care of people. Okay, I'm going to switch this down where I'm going to go just to me, right, talking. So I won't, Jeff, I'm going to rely on you to talk about that. We're going to take a look at LinkedIn, and using it for job hunting. Why LinkedIn? We're going to take a look at your profile. How do you optimize your profile? What do recruiters look for? And how do you search for jobs? How do you search for people? And some homework for you. Again, a vital part of job hunting is getting found on LinkedIn. So the first part of our session is going to be about LinkedIn and how to use it that way. Originally, LinkedIn was a tool for networking among sales and marketing professionals about leads and things like that. Recruiters got smart, quickly adopted it as a source for candidates. Over 1 million recruiters use LinkedIn to find and engage talent on a regular basis. Hiring managers use it as well to source candidates, to find them. And so it's a major sourcing tool for hiring managers. And it is available at no charge, although there are packages that can be available for that. I know Kurt Vandemeyer, who's one of the speakers on this, uses it. I think his annual license fee is about $19,000 for 3 seats. So it is available as a tool to access all of those 750,000 people worldwide. And again, employers list their jobs and are on LinkedIn to post jobs every day, and available at any given time. There's as many as 20 million jobs available. So the first part of our session is going to talk about your profile, your headline, your dashboard, the about sections, open to work, your experience, and your skills and endorsements, and how do you optimize your profile. So that's kind of where we want to start from. Again, it all starts with your profile. If you take a look at that, there are a number of things on your profile that get noticed, but usually it's within the first 6 to 10 seconds. I've got a background photo, or called a banner photo. I've got a headshot in here. I've got my name. My headline is here. You have about 200 characters to play with, although most people in their headline only use the first line or so. That's about 60 characters. And that I'm also open to work. I'm not open to work in this particular photo. If you click on that, it's going to add a banner from about 5 o'clock around to about 9 o'clock, says that you're open to work. Okay, but that's my headline. So what you're trying to do is to get people to click on your profile and to look further at that when you're talking about recruiters. Okay. And completing a profile increases your ranking. Every section of LinkedIn has a value. And when those are added up, somebody does a search for a recruiter or an accountant, all the values are added up. The top ones in each category, of course, appear at the top ones of the search results. So that's why you want to complete the rating on the ranking of your profile. Headshot is vital. You will need to have a picture. It's been estimated that you get better results, maybe 30 to 40% better results if you have a picture on your profile. The headline, the job title of a position you're applying for. If you don't put a headline in there, it's going to default to the headline or the title of the last job that you had in the employment section. You can add as many as 4 or 5 different titles in there, and we'll see a little bit later when we look at some of the headlines. Open to work under your headline. You can limit it to recruiters, or you can open it up to all of LinkedIn. If you're currently working, you may want to limit it to just recruiters that are available. You can see your profile. The about section, which is your summary section, is an overview of your career. You want to include keywords from your search, keywords from your profession in that category. The contact information, you need to, it might be in the contact information as well, but you should have it in the top of your about section, that first line, because some people don't have the advanced package, the premium package, to find contact information for people other than their first degree connections. And again, you want to make it easy for the recruiter or hiring manager to give you a call. That's the reason to have it there. You can have it multiple places as well. The experience section is another section that needs to be completed. Your job title, if it's an unusual one, you want to spell out what it is, and usually called in industry, what that's generally recognized in a descriptive of your duties and the results, along with keywords from your profession. Skills from your profession, you can list up to 50. LinkedIn will show 3. You can select them, or you can let LinkedIn select them for you. I don't recommend letting LinkedIn select them for you. And also endorsements. Any awards and certifications, what have you been doing since your degree? If you have one, what have you taken in way of professional development or continuing education, are all things that you want to include on your profile, as well as recommendations from coworkers and former bosses, if you have those. The more the better. Usually good to have 2 or 3 from your current situation, if you are most recent situation that you can talk about. Again, your URL on your profile, you have a URL, which is right down here. This is usually your name and hyphenated, and at least 8 other characters and numbers that are there. You want to customize a little bit and take those out. And if you have a commonly used name like Dick Jones or Smith, you could actually Dick Jones Dallas or Dick Jones CPA or MBA to clarify it. If it's a name or LinkedIn URL that's not in use, you'll get the green check mark. If it's one that is in use, you get a red check mark and you'll have to add more to it. So you can add some other things. You can add a little bit of advertising about your own background as well. You want to check and see if your profile is really public. Go to your privacy settings, and here are some of the privacy settings that you can go through. The ones that you do want to make sure that who can see or download your email address, and who can see your connections. Although the connection is one, I have mine closed if I were in job search mode, because recruiters do look at your connections. They look at people like you, and that gives them additional names to add to their recruiting list that they can contact about a position. So that's just some quick things. The privacy and settings is there on your screen. Right up here, and you can take that, edit your URL, and then privacy settings as well. Okay, 6 to 10 seconds to get your attention. What are you going to look at there? Well, you're going to look at the name. This one has the Open to Work banner on there, the titles that are there, and the contact information, some information here, my background, and Open to Work is there. This gives you a chance to show additional 5 titles as well as the type of work, full-time, part-time, contract, temporary kinds of jobs, and locationally under the Open to Work section. So that's what recruiters see about that. Let's move on to headlines. These are some headlines we have. These are ones that you may want. Employed, unemployed, or retired are not generally, they're probably truthful, but not generally the ones that you want to use because they have some negative connotation. Yeah, it can be regarded as negative, I'll put it that way. Here's some that just copy of somebody that have unemployed, and you can see what it actually looks like on their profile. I don't recommend doing that because, again, it has a negative connotation there. So let's take a look at some others. Seeking new opportunity is okay, but it doesn't convey what you're really looking for. Formerly VP of Finance is okay. Again, I would delete the word formerly. It's probably evident in looking at your profile if you're not working. Okay. Experienced digital design engineer is a little bit more descriptive, seeking a new opportunity. Here's a little bit more lengthy one. And again, most of these are condensed to get them onto the slide. Social media strategist and content manager, seeking a new opportunity. Imply that they have digital and print experience, public relations, marketing, and corporate communications. This one is more abbreviated, but it tells a story about somebody who has a background in supply chain, procurement, and purchasing. And somebody looking for somebody like that would delve down and at least look at the resume. Something to do, it's called a hook to entice you to click further. Senior accountant, GL, general ledger, reporting and cost. Again, it's okay to use acronyms occasionally if they're generally recognized. Some acronyms like AMA, there are at least 23 different AMA designations in the back of the Webster's Dictionary. If you look up and see what some of them are. American Medical Association, American Marketing Association, American Motorcycle Association, another one. Executive assistant, there are about 35,000 of those in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So adding some other information to clarify your background can be very helpful in terms of budgeting or event planning, other things that executive assistants do. IT project manager, again, for those looking for IT positions, the recruiters look at that area. Project manager, idle, scrum manager, agile are all things that they might want to look further at. A general manager manufacturing and aerospace gives a pretty clear picture of what that individual does. Here are some other titles, headlines. It's a good one, a VP of marketing for global marketing. And again, VP marketing, creating value for a business through effective marketing strategy could be more lengthy. And how were you a VP of marketing? How did you create value? This character, the pipe character here, to separate these words, if you use that, you want to leave a blank space on either side. That pipe character is a shift character above the shift key on your keyboard. Project manager, program manager, sales manager. Descriptive, this is more valuable, so that they have a background with international business and aerospace. Customer service manager, customer relations manager. Again, helping business through customer-centric aim, focus on increasing sales through customer retention. Again, it's more descriptive, give information about some of the things that the person has done, what they've accomplished. I mentioned the open to work section. This is what you can add to that. You can notice that here. Notice that one of the things that it allows you to do is give locations. Now, this individual is looking anywhere on the West Coast from San Diego to San Francisco. Again, those are generally open for about 90 days, and it allows you to give information to recruiters and to hiring managers and other people on LinkedIn. If we move further down your profile, the next area is your dashboard and your featured section. Again, some of the interesting things about your dashboard is who's looked at your profile in the last few weeks, how many posting views are looked at. I posted this particular presentation on LinkedIn, and it had a couple of hundred different post views from my network. And how many times have you appeared in searches? This is static. And again, this picture says that I have an all-star rating. Well, let's take a look. If we click on that search appearances, the next slide, it's going to show up the keywords that those searchers use. In this case, they were looking for a recruiter, a technical sales associate. They may have been looking for a recruiter for their company, or they may have been looking for a recruiter to help them find a job. Regardless, those are the keywords that they use. In your particular area, it might be accountant or different things that they've looked at as well. It also happens to list the companies where they work with. And those companies may be companies that you want to add to your target list of companies to contact, because they may have jobs like yours, even though they may not have openings for that right at the present time. Okay, let's move on to the About section. This is a very good description of a financial planning and analysis of an individual. You notice the top line there contains their contact information, their email address. Usually on the profile or the About section, you want to limit this to 3 or 4 lines and then break it up with some bullets. This is a particularly strong About section summary of somebody with a background in financial planning and analysis. And that's an acronym generally recognized by recruiters, although sometimes it's not recognized by the general public. So it's good to spell out acronyms when you use them the first time. Again, your About section, you have 2,000 characters to play with. We can take a look at mine a little bit later, and I can show you what some of mine looks like. Again, it has areas of specialization. This is something that place to get those extra keywords in. And the more times you have keywords in your profile, the higher the ranking you're going to get for keywords in different sections. Some other sample summaries that we have. Again, they've gone to the first person in this case. That's generally not recommended for resumes, but it's okay when you're talking about your profile. You can see what they are. They've listed their background and where they've done. They've listed the key competencies they have. They have additional some information about their employment experience. Here's another one, creative marketer. Again, no, those kinds of words, strategic, creative, generally without amplification on a resume, will be looked at as fluff. But the individual has got information in demand generation, digital marketing, campaign development, sales enablement, additional things that describe what they've done. Let's move on further down your profile. This is actually a section from my profile, your experience section. It has my job title, the company names and dates. Okay. Location. The duties are summarized here. There's actually 4 lines here. There's some bulleted accomplishments here on this particular one. And a final thing that I happen to include, this was the email sent out to the Oracle recruiting staff the day that I retired from Oracle in June 2010. I thought it was good and valuable, so I just plugged it in as part of the profile. Different things that you can do with your profile. Okay, if you're not currently working, you currently want to add a current position. And by a current position, it can mean what you're doing to look for a job. In this case, we've got a software applications developer, software engineer. The type of employment is full-time. And again, the company that they're looking for is a particular industry. This is financial services. You could put telecommunications or healthcare, some of those different industry classifications that you see on LinkedIn, and we'll look at those a little bit later. I started to type in Dallas. The artificial intelligence for LinkedIn allows you to see that for Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Dallas County, Dallas, Texas. But there are also a couple other Dallases, Dallas, Georgia. There's a Dalhart, Texas, out in West Texas, and there's a Dallas, Oregon. So as you fill that in, you can select from the drop-down list that's there. So those are some things. By having that, that's a section that does get a value rating. Is your current position from LinkedIn. The next section that we want to look at is your skills and endorsement section. Okay, you can list up to 50 skills. Okay, and you can organize them the way that you want. Display the ones that you want to emphasize what you're looking for in a particular situation. You can add skills. You can start to type in skills here, or you can simply click on the skill here. As you start to type in one up here, and if it's not one that's generally recognized by LinkedIn, it won't let you add that particular one. Once you've added your skills and looked at those, LinkedIn will select 3, or you can select 3 that appear in your skills and endorsements section. Again, this one is from me, and this is career counseling, executive search, and recruiting. And again, this is the description of the endorsements that I've had and other endorsements and where some of those people have worked. Okay. Now, selecting those skills can be done here. This is how they appear on your screen when you go into an edit mode. Again, by clicking this blue push pin, actually I think it's green now, it releases that one and it drops down to the group below. Okay, so that's one, and then I could go down here and push on this one and click on it, and it would come up to the top 3. You can rearrange the 3 in this section or the 3 in the others in this section by clicking on the 4 bars that are there and rearrange it, drag and drop down to the 3rd position or 2nd position. But that's a way that you can select which skills and experience. You notice on this one for me, I've got 49 skills and endorsement skills areas that are listed. Okay, optimizing. One of the things that you want to do is to take a look at your profile and how do you optimize your profile. Well, one of the ways that you can do that, and I want to go back, this section over here usually starts out with jobs. So if I do a job search, then I can go over here and then have a drop-down list. People is one of those categories that you can select on. Again, for a recruiter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is what I was doing, was trying to find me. Okay. Okay. There are 26,000, and it varies at any given point in time. They have word recruiter in their profile. Okay. And you notice that it's in their headline for the most part. Here's an executive recruiter. Used to be that I knew most of these people. I don't know what I've done to do that, Jeff. What have I done there? Okay.
I am not sure. I've never seen that before. There you go. You
I've never seen that either, but we'll go back and take a look at that some more. Okay. So we want to take a look at for your profile, but you can go in and look at people's profile, find the verbs or the words that are there that are not in yours, and you can incorporate some of those words in your own profile. See if you can't increase your ranking. I used to be, when I was active on LinkedIn, we're doing recruiting, I'd show up in the first couple of pages for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And again, if you don't show up in the first 10 pages, which is 10 thumbnail sketches per page, you probably are not going to show up on anybody's search unless they're really looking for a rare individual with certain skill sets. LinkedIn for job hunting, we want to take a look at that. How do LinkedIn actually run a search, and how do recruiters actually search, and some recruiter searches, and then searching for jobs. So that's the next section that we want to take a look at. Recruiter search, as I mentioned, every section of LinkedIn has a value, and those values for each section of your profile are added up. And at the end of the time, when somebody does a search, the high scores in each category go to the top of the list of results. So some of the things that it looks at are keywords in your profile, your skills, an exact match of the job titles in your current position, your previous positions, and in your headline. Specific companies and industries. Companies may be looking for somebody who will look at the search results where they're looking for somebody who had a high-tech background in given different geographic locations. That you're open to work. Recruiters like open to work because it generally means that you'll talk to them. Recruiters don't like to be told, no, you're not looking for a job. Again, so they go after the low-hanging fruit that's easy to find. People have indicated they're open to being approached. Geographic location can be important. Most applicants have taught recruiters or told recruiters, hey, I don't want to drive more than 25 miles to work. So the default setting on most job boards is 25 miles. So recruiters limit their searches to 25 miles. All-star status we've talked about. The number of connections and whether it's a first or second degree connection. And comments, if you go online and comment on articles or postings and write a blog or an article, as I mentioned, I publicized this on the blog last week when I publicized that. So what do recruiters really look for? How does LinkedIn do the searches? The recruiter can specify how searches run as well. They tend to look for keywords, job title or titles of your past, present positions in your headline, in your open to work section, and the employment section. They look at skills. They tend to look at industries and specific companies. Again, and we'll take a look at a specific company in a few minutes. They look at your education, they look at location and companies. And once they've narrowed that down, they have a list that they can start looking through. This is an actual search screen, an input screen that Kurt Bennemotter uses. As you notice on that, you can look over 710 million people for that. Again, it narrows that search down very quickly by clicking on the different things that are there. You can see the different areas, postal code, zip code, if they're looking. That's how people identify distance for the most part. Education experience, number of years of experience, a degree with a military veteran. Those are a number of things that are used in a search. That search screen actually runs to about 4 screens, I guess what Kurt was showing. And once he's done that, he can narrow it down pretty quickly to maybe 400 or 500 people, and he can narrow it down with further searches and refinements on the filters. This is a pretty general search. I, as a recruiter, would never run a search this general. They're looking for accountants, and they're looking for anywhere in the United States. Well, there are about 4,281,000 people in the United States that have an account in their profile. Okay, I would not do that. It was probably too much time to wade through all that, so I'd use a number of refinements. So let's look at a couple of more refined searches as well. This is one that's looking for a product manager. They're generally speaking in the greater Seattle area, but would consider people from the San Francisco area. The skills that they're looking for are things like competitive analysis, product marketing, product management as well. And they have listed a few key companies. These are in the Seattle area: Microsoft, Amazon, and Fluke Corporation. And they'll also consider schools. They've listed University of Washington, which happens to be in Seattle. This particular search drew about 6,900 candidates. And these are things that you could check. Somebody have it from his company or connected with his company. 2,500 of them are following the company where the recruiter or hiring manager works. And then engagement in a talent brand. Again, a further refinement in the recruiting process that you can check on your application when you follow companies. Let's take a look at another search. This is one in Chicago. Looking for a project manager in the greater Chicago area, although they consider somebody from the San Francisco area or greater New York. This one drew about 49,000, almost 43,000 candidates, but only 83 of them were open to new opportunities. So again, what's the first place that a recruiter is probably going to look? You can look at the ones that are open to new opportunities. And you can see some of the other things. They're looking for the skills, business strategy and analytics, and the other skills that they mentioned. Northwestern happens to be a school in the Chicago area. Evanston, about 35 miles north of Chicago. They're looking for companies that they may have worked for. These are high-tech companies like Facebook and Google, LinkedIn. Surprised there aren't some others on there, but you can see how recruiters actually do a search and what the results screen looks like when the recruiters run the search. Let's move on and take a look at job searching. And if we have time, we'll take a look at search for some jobs for some of you. This particular one is searching for jobs. You can enter when you go to the jobs tab up here. And you have to enter, you have data entry screen or box. You can enter a job title and a location. If you just enter a title in there and don't already have a location selected there, it's going to default to the United States. And we'll see that. So you can enter that title, but you can collect and search there. Again, there are some artificial intelligence as you start to type in there. It'll help you to fill in. But if you select from the artificial intelligence on the search jobs, it will default to that, and again, default locationally to the United States. Let's actually search for a job in Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is one for a senior accountant in Plano. Note the default setting for 25 miles is here. There's also some other filters that are there: the date posted, the experience level, company, job type, remote, etc. And all filters. This all filters is what allows you to take a look at that. So let's take a look at the filter screen. This particular search had 144 jobs from the date of the search within the last week. I think it was open all of them. Okay. This is actually the filter screen. They've actually revised this screen so it's only on the right half of your screen now if you do that search. The one that I suggest for everybody is to select the past week as the first response to a job posting on LinkedIn or other job board. It's usually within 2 or 3 minutes, and they can have a couple hundred within the first hour. So you want to look in first, so you want to look at them fairly recent jobs. unless it's an unusual job, hard to fill position for somebody. But there can be, 300 or 400 in the first hour. I know Gail Houston is a friend. When she was with EDS, she ran it for a project manager. You got 300 within the first hour and shut down the posting. So you may have encountered that when you've gone to a job board and found this position is no longer available. It was up, they shut down the posting. Other things that you notice, this is something in the salary area. I think they picked that up from Indeed.com, which has that filter as well. You notice some other features, easy to apply. That's something that you may want to consider. Again, if the easy to apply just takes your profile, I don't recommend using it. If it allows you to upload a customized resume, by all means, consider that. The other thing that you have the different job types. Most jobs are going to be full-time, but there are contract, part-time, temporary types of positions as well. So if you're looking for something that's part-time or temporary or contract, that's a way to search for it. You notice the location there. Most of the jobs are here, but if you lived in Richardson and don't want to go to Grand Prairie or Irving, you may want to delete that. You can select by company. For recruiter, and this is by all time. When I search, I hadn't clicked on apply yet, so this is for all time that are still out there. You can select a particular industry as well. So those are just some of the filters that you can collect. Also, there's also another button on there. There's a reset button. I thought it was on this screen, but it's not, that you can select. While you're on that screen, you can also create job alerts. This is right here, this section right here. When you click on that, it allows you to select daily or weekly. So you'll get a thumbnail description of that, daily or weekly, in an email. And you can sift through those in a hurry. Take a look at those, probably 5 or 10 minutes till I take a look at some of the new jobs that are open to match your qualifications. So that's what it looks like when it's turned on. You can see right down here. But that's a valuable feature to get current jobs that are just popping onto the job market. Again, networking is another thing that you want to do, connecting with people. And how do you do that? How do you search for people? There are different ways that you can do that to find out who it is so that you can send your resume that way. Okay, first way that you can do it is just to use the general search box at the top. This is one that Carol Brickle had done, looking for me. And she said, if you were looking for Locke and she typed that in, these are the results. You notice that's me, that right there. But there's an attorney, a law firm, there's a hotel, and information technology services company, a locker room, and also another attorney. Okay, so that's by just doing in the search box itself to look for people. You can do a people search. I mentioned that box where the jobs were. This is where you can see the job using the drop-down arrow. You can select people, and again, by selecting people here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that showed up how many there were, because there were originally about 19,900,000 people with Recruiter in the United States. Okay. So these are just job search that you can start on. We started out with job search, and we refined it to a people search. You can search within your own network. You notice here at the top, your network, your number of connections that you have if you have a fairly large network. And again, there are filters that you can do that you want to look for people that have worked with Lennox International in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that are in your network, and their background or job title is a talent acquisition or recruiting firm. That's a way to find recruiters when you're looking for them. Third way, or the fourth way to look, is to actually do a company search page. Search for a company by name. This was Meta-Analytics, which is a company here on Bush Turnpike, on Bush here in Richardson. Okay, I did a search for them, the company, list the number of people that they have. I did a refinement on the people. They have 510 employees worldwide. Most of those are elsewhere in the United States, but they had 129 of them in Dallas. By clicking on that, shows the 129 in the Dallas area and where they live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. When I was looking for a recruiter, for refinement on that. Okay. It came out, I can't hit the touchpad. It won't do that. Okay. Turns out that there's one recruiter here in the Dallas office, Brianna Sean, and you can contact her. That's a way to list who those people are, but you get a lot of information. But you can also use the company page to do a job search. You notice here that there was jobs. You can click on that, include the keyword, and these are the jobs that are available from meta analytics in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You can also do a job search for that. In terms of that, where's the job search? You don't see it on this create job alert, so that you could alert if that's one of your key companies that you're looking for. Create a job alert for any openings at that company if you want it. And wrapping up, we'll talk about some homework for you for your LinkedIn profile. You want to complete each section of your profile. Include the name in your name. You want to use the name that you'd like to be called by. My actual legal name is John Locke Alderson Jr. I go by Locke because my dad was John, my son is John. So that's what I put on my profile. The headline is the job title or titles, positions that you're looking for. As I say, not including one, default to the last job title in your profile, in your employment section. Complete the open to work section below your headline. And you can list 5 different job titles there. Now let recruiters know that you're open. Again, if you are currently employed, you may want to limit that to just recruiters as opposed to all of LinkedIn. Experience section, you want to have your company name, the job titles that you had, and measurable results, the accomplishments that you had. Looking at resumes and profiles, many of the candidates that I look at simply talk about their duties that they performed and what their responsibilities were. They don't talk about what they accomplished, what were the results of performing those duties. And those results add credibility to your experience. You want to include keywords from your profession. If you don't know what those are, take a look at some of the job postings for the positions that you're looking for. Go down and look at the requirements. Those are the kinds of keywords that they're looking for. Same thing for skills. Again, so ones from your profession. And select the top 3 that you want to highlight in your profile section. Do a people search for your title at your geographic area. And if you don't show up, as I said, in the first 10 screens, pop open the thumbnail sketches and take a look at some of those words that are there and include them in your profile. If you want a copy of the slide deck, lockealderson@gmail.com. I'll be happy to send it to you. Jeff, I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right, well, we had a good question. Carlos asked, how critical are endorsements and badges?
Endorsements and I couldn't hear the second.
Badges.
Endorsements, you can request that people do that, to talk about that.
You know, what I like to tell people is you like to have 2 endorsements or 2 recommendations from the prior years, you know, in 2021, if you can do that. Endorsements, as far as I'm concerned, personally are useless because people endorse me all the time for stuff that, how do they know? We never worked together. Why are you endorsing me now? If you're endorsing me for facilitating or for you know, some of these things, that's fine. But for, you know, many things as far as your work background, how do people know? Now, the badges I think are very important. Being able to take that LinkedIn test that they offer on a skill, if you're able, and you can get a couple badges. They say that that does move you up in the search. When people are searching for people with those skills, that will move you up in the algorithm. Another question, Locke. So let's say you lived in Forney or you lived up in McKinney. What should you put down for your location? Should you put McKinney or should you put DFW, or what do you recommend?
You can put DFW metropolitan area and put a zip code. It's common. If you know the jobs are going to be Dallas, choose a zip code that's there. 75201 is a Dallas zip code. Richardson zip code 75080. You know, recruiters know those, but learn those. If you live in an area that's more than 25 miles from the center of town, choose a zip code like that, but you're open to something like that.
All right, Mimi asked, what are some recommendations on ways to increase your connections as a job seeker, particularly now that there are more virtual remote networking events, whether you're not comfortable with in-person events right now?
Sorry, repeat the question for me, Jeff.
Well, you know, what are the ways, what are some recommendations on how you can increase your LinkedIn connections?
Well, you can request, you know, certainly today, there's an opportunity for everybody that's on this Zoom meeting to connect with you and with me. And I'm open to connections. If you don't tell me where it is, I'm not likely to accept it. Okay, because I still get invitations from India and from China from when I worked with Oracle Corporation. So that's one of the things that you can do in any of the Zoom meetings that you go to. Connect with the people that are there.
Yeah, I recommend that, you take today's chat. So two people have put in their information that they're that they're with their LinkedIn profiles and how you can connect with them. Be sure to save the chat, and in the chat window, you click on the little three dots in the lower right-hand corner and click Save Chat. And then you can, after the meeting, go back and, highlight and connect with those people. Now, one of the rules, if you want to try to connect with me, and I think Locke's in agreement, is that if you want to connect with Locke, you need to send me a personal note. Tell me that you met me today here at LinkedIn Tuesdays, at this webinar. Tell me why we should connect. I get requests every day from people, and it's just the generic invitation, and I don't connect with any of those people. Send me an invitation, tell me why we should connect. Very, very important.
If I got my LinkedIn profile screen open, is that showing on your screen?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, we can do two things now. We've got a little bit of time today. We could take a look at people's profile. We can actually look for jobs for a couple of people. Since we have a relatively small group today, I think there are 7 participants today, or 6 participants today on the call.
Yeah, if you'd like
Aside
us to
from-
look at your profile, if you want us to look at your profile, just remember that it will be up on YouTube and Facebook forever and ever. But if you'd like us to show, if you'd like us to look at your profile, put your name in the chat window, and we will go take a look at your profile.
Jim, one of those people? No.
Jim's not on our call today, but
Okay.
that's fine. Let's look at his profile. Interesting background he has there.
Okay, in his banner shot or headline, his banner, what do they call the banner photo? It's back there. He's got a keyboard. That's an old typewriter keyboard, I would guess. Okay, it talks about his communication as a content writer. He hasn't used a very long headline there. Okay, but I would use more characters as well.
But you have to agree, though, that his picture represents who he is. So
it does represent who he is.
Yeah, he's a writer, a communication consultant. I mean, that's to me, a very catchy photo.
Well, that's something that, as we scroll down his profile, his about section, he has his contact information on the top line. And I recommend that because, again, only 3 lines show in your about section. You have to click on see more to take a look at the rest of his profile. And you've got 2,000 characters in that section to play with. He's got a featured section. He's got an article that he's written. He's got a couple of things that he's done on his profile that you can take a look at, which are inquisitive for people. That looks like a bio on him that he's done on his profile. He's got some activity. Looks like he's a communication specialist with a company, TTI, here in town. He's been a screenwriter, freelance screenwriter, for freelance experience as well. Got a degree in journalism from Kansas. And again, looking at more experiences as well. His skills and endorsements, public speaking, marketing, and public relations. I might have chosen something other than public speaking and marketing from his profile down below. We can take a look at more. Technical writing might have been, creative writing might be others that he's done television or advertising. So he doesn't have all those. He's got a couple of good recommendations from Mark Elder over at, what's Mark's group?
Who do you know?
Who do you know? They run a seminar on Wednesday afternoon for the most part. A pretty good looking profile other than that. So is there somebody else that we want to look at?
Well, Michael says, can you talk about how you look at your score to see where you, where can you look at your score?
You can't look at your score. The only thing that you can do, if we take a quick look at my profile, you can notice the things that are there. I don't have the open to work selected on this one, which would give the banner right there. By clicking on that, allows you to do that. Here's my profile. Actually, the dashboard is kind of low. I'm surprised that the number of posting views is so low this time, but search appearances that I've appeared in the last couple of weeks. The about section is mine. It's got to connect with my email address. I don't have a phone number there, but you can see more. Again, my about section, you can notice the different ways I've listed things. Okay. I've got the different position titles that I've had. I've got different speaking engagements that I've had. I've also got a specialties category here. And this is designed for the recruiter to get career and consultant and recruiter included in that. There's no punctuation there, and that's on purpose. That's just to appear that way. Here's a profile. I mean, the things that you can include in your featured section, the activity section, and the jobs. Taking a look at let's take a look at the other experiences. I mentioned that Oracle experience that shows up there, but this is one from there. Here's the experience with Oracle. It also happens to link the experience that I had with Siebel, because Siebel was purchased by Oracle Corporation.
I'm thinking that Michael may also be talking about the social selling index score.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay. So Locke, if you can go up and just go up into the search bar for a sec. In fact, here, let me put the link. I just put the link in the chat window for everybody. So if you go to linkedin.com/sales /SI.
Yeah, I've done that, but I can't remember how I did it, Jeff.
Is your chat window open?
My chat window.
Can you see the chat? You can just click on the last link.
There it
Might
is.
be helpful if you put in chat the instructions on how you get there.
Well, I just put the link. So I mean, all you have to
Oh.
do is go linkedin.com/sales/SSI. There we go. So we'll see that Locke gets a score of 70, which is very good. 70 to 80 is where you want to be. And he can see, as you go scroll back up for a second, that he's in the top 2% of his industry and the top 4% of all of his network. So if you're not up there, and this is driven by, do you like other people's information? Do you share information? Do you connect with other people? If you're active on LinkedIn, and active means 30 minutes a day. It doesn't mean spending hours and hours on LinkedIn. In 30 minutes a day, you should be able to spend all the time you need to be able to get your social selling index up. This is really
I probably don't rank high as a sales professional, because in information services, because that's not what I do as a recruiter. Although recruiters do selling, they're selling candidates, and they're selling that they can fill an opening, their services capability.
right. Well, I'm sure they're looking at Siebel and Oracle and going, okay, you must be in, information services industry. So
This is more about how often you're participating on the site, is it not?
That's a factor, is one of the factors that enters into it. They have a number of different factors for each category that you have, or each section of your profile.
yeah, if you scroll up a little bit, Locke, you'll see that there's really 4 areas that they look at, 4 components to your score. How well do you establish your professional brand? You can click on the little question marks to get more definition of what it is. How much are you connecting with the right people? Are you engaging with insights is if you're liking and sharing people's posts, and are you posting yourself, and then building relationships. So if you have any questions about that, this is really the only place you can find any score that LinkedIn will go and tell you about.
All right. Let's take a look at somebody else's profile, and let's look for a job for somebody in the time we've got left.
Yeah, somebody want to pop a name of a company or a job title you're looking for, pop something like that in the chat window, and we'll take a look at that.
Got anything, Jeff?
Not yet.
Okay. Somebody want to look for a
Here we
job?
go, project engineer.
Okay, so we're going to go We can start out here on search, or we can go over here to the jobs tab. Either one, you can start either way. I like to start with the jobs tab, and the jobs tab. Okay. Search by skill. So we're talking about what's the title?
Project engineer.
Notice there's a drop that didn't have it. It did have engineer. So if I click that, okay, it defaulted because I didn't enter a location, it entered the United States. So let's go up here and enter location, and we'll start to type in. And notice when I start to type Dallas County, there's China, okay? So I'm going to select the Metroplex and a search.
So you went from 63,000 down to 2,700.
Okay, now that's 2,700 for a project engineer, but if I want to look at all filters, I'm going to do that rather than date posted. Remember I mentioned to select date posted as the first one that you want to do. That's within 24. I'm going to go in the past week, okay? And we're going to say mid-senior level, again, the experience level, and show results, okay? So it took it down to 169 results, okay? Mid-senior level. Also look at locations in terms of jobs like that. The first job position for GAF, which is the roofing materials, I think, and building materials kind of thing, what they are and how you can apply. I happen to know somebody in my network is a recruiter there, so I can click on that as well. She's open. Was she open to connection? Okay. That's another thing that you could do on something like that. So I could click on connect and send her a note. If you do this, do add information. We've met, or I haven't noticed you're back on LinkedIn. I have some interest in a position listed for GAF. Would like to connect with you, Lori. Okay, and your name, and then add that note and then send it. But if you do that, that makes it a little bit more personal. This is a recruiter that actually posted that position. She's responsible for finding the candidates for this job. That makes it a little bit easier rather than sending it in blind to a company, dear hiring manager, or dear recruiter. Somebody else looking for a job or for?
Well, just, a couple of things I want to point out. Right there, it says job alert off. Once you've found a search that you really like, turn on a job alert, and then it'll automatically send you that every day. And
Daily or weekly?
You'll see what new jobs get posted. You may want to change it instead of current week, change it to current day. And then when you get that update every day, you'll get the most current jobs that have been posted.
They usually come in first thing in the morning, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right. So that's a great way to do things. All right, well, I think we're just about out of time here. So Locke, thank you very much. Great information. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Want to point out that next week, our speaker is going to be Ruth Lipsky. She's going to talk about LinkedIn search engine optimization. So join us. Ruth is also a career coach. She works at Lee Heck Harrison, and she'll talk about things from a little bit different point of view and show us a couple different things than what Locke has shared with us today. So please join us again next Tuesday at 1. All right, I need everybody, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Very, very, very important. Send that personal note because people will connect with people when you send that personal note. When you see there's two different color connect buttons, there's a white connect button and a blue connect button. The blue connect button will always allow you to send a personal note. The white connect button will not, and it'll just send that generic invitation. So if that happens, so instead of doing that, if you see a white connect button, click on that person's profile and you should be able to find that blue connect button. Career DFW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us every day. Grab your lunch and join us at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow for Interviewing Wednesday, we'll be talking about informational interviewing. Well, on LinkedIn, you've now found somebody. How do you then reach out to that person? And what do you talk about, without sounding desperate like you're looking for a job? How to do an information interview. That'll be our topic tomorrow at 1 o'clock. On Thursday, being the second Thursday of the month, we'll be talking about networking. Networking with a Purpose, and that'll be with Mark McDonald. So join us this Thursday at 1 o'clock. And then this Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting, we meet at 9:30 in the morning. Career transitioning using Clifton Strengths. So how do you use, for those who remember Strength Finders from the old days, how do you use Strength Finders or Clifton Strengths as it's now called in your job search? Please join the Career at FW and Career USA LinkedIn groups. You don't have to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join our group, but you're welcome to join both of those. It's a great way to expand your connections, and it's going to allow you to meet and how to expand your connections. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page. In a couple hours, will be uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel. On the Career USA YouTube channel, the easiest way to see all the videos we have, click on playlist, and then down below, instead of clicking on the video, click where it says view full playlist, and then up will pop a list of all the different titles and topics. And it's the easiest way for you to go back and search and see any of these videos that you'd like to see. Getting the PowerPoint slides sometimes don't share all the information. It's good to hear the words again, and you can go back and do that as often as you'd like. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, you can send an email to Career USA, +subscribe@groups.io. Please note, Career FW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Career FW, we have no full or part-time employees. Locke's a volunteer. All of our speakers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 13, 14 years has been as a volunteer to help you in your job search. Please consider making a donation when you get your next job. So thank you very much for joining us today. Locke, once again, thank you very much for your time.
Jeff,
And
thanks, Jeff, for having me.
And we'll see everybody hopefully later in the week.